Madoka Magica Rebellion defied expectations throughout its runtime, and it made perfect sense. During the first hour, the audience is presented with a generic, if well-produced magical girl story instead of a gritty, genre-aware drama that they've come to expect. Homura may seem like she is more emotional and expressive during the events of Rebellion, but this is simply because of the lens that the audience is viewing the story from. During the events of the TV series, the audience is primarily led by Madoka, who sees Homura as cold and detached. Actually, there is likely a magical explanation for her perception. Kyubey hints that Homura is getting more and more removed from reality as she continues to use her power to try and save Madoka. The people within the world are actually starting to subconsciously treat Homura like a foreign object. They aren't able to perceive how Homura is actually behaving. This is the reason why after Homura collapses, weeping next to Madoka, Madoka has little, if any, reaction to Homura's sudden change in behavior. This is the same Madoka that wants everyone to be happy and wants to help in any way possible. Instead of offering any attempt to understand or help Homura, she coldly says that she has to go find Sayaka and leaves. This oddity in behavior is made obvious because the audience sees the event from Homura's perspective. Madoka likely didn't even perceive Homura the way that she was presented. Homura was always that emotional. Madoka, and by extension the audience, was simply not able to see it. Then the film returns to the series' roots in epic fashion during Homura's fight with Mami, and provides a plot that is a worthy successor to the television series. However, just as Rebellion is about to deliver a conclusion that the audience would likely be satisfied with, a different ending is presented. Instead, Homura undermines Madoka's wish and effectively betrays her when all she has done prior to this event was try and help Madoka. Why did she do this? The answer is very simple. Homura was never willing to accept that Madoka's decision was really what she wanted. Homura always believed that Madoka made the wish hastily in order to help others at the expense of her own happiness. Understand now that Homura went back in time over and over and over, potentially spending several lifetimes back in the same miserable time period where Madoka is deceived and exploited by Kyubey. She spent a substantial amount of her time, effort, and sanity in attempting to achieve her goal of saving Madoka, only for Madoka to undermine Homura's efforts and sacrifice herself. Homura's actions are perfectly consistent with her actions prior to the film. She didn't suddenly become evil. She refers to herself as a demon, but what is a demon or a devil at its core? An entity that fundamentally goes against the will of God. In this universe, Madoka is God, and Homura stages the ultimate rebellion. Let's also not pretend that Homura ruined some kind of utopian universe. This is what we see of the world in Rebellion, and honestly, it looks like it's in pretty bad shape. The world that Homura creates just might be better than Madoka's. Also, let's be clear that at no point did Homura ever intend to let Madoka run the world as she wished. Remember that it was Homura who revealed to Kyubey at the end of the TV series that the world used to function much differently than it currently did. She literally fed him the impetus for the main plot of Rebellion. She knew that Kyubey was going to try and recreate the previous world. Okay, guy, even if I'm with you so far, how did she know that she could subvert Madoka? Easy, she did it before. Homura has experienced the events of Rebellion many times before the theatrical production. Just as in the television series, she tried it over and over again until she refined the process to a point where the events would turn out just as she wanted them to turn out. It is nothing short of confounding to explain away Rebellion's choices as a cash grab. It would have been so much easier to provide a different conclusion that nobody in the audience that was a fan of the original production would have had the slightest objection to. A cash grab denotes a mediocre and straightforward production that's overly safe in order to satisfy fans and milk them of their funds. Rebellion, by contrast, is an entry that refuses to be predictable and satisfying in the way that the target audience wants, and for that, I thank it.